Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we take a look at this. This is your standard run-of-the-mill 1882, which we saw in a previous video going through its history and kind of its features. But today what we're going to do is give it some love and cleaning. If you remember, it had a bunch of stains, rust-ish, some paint on the tip for some weird reason. The nickel plating was actually damaged in a few points here from rubbing against the scabbard, I would assume. And it was just generally overall oxidized and not in its best self. So what we're going to do today is take a look at it and try and clean it and polish it back to a bit of a dignified state. What I'm going to do for this sword, given that nickel plating, as far as I'm told, or as far as I know, can be negatively affected by oils like ballistol, we're going to focus more on using autosol, so a mild abrasive to get the polish back out. But what I've heard is that you can use the oil, so you can use like ballistol to clean it initially. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to wipe it with ballistol and clean rags until there's no more residue of grime and dirt coming out off of the blade. And then we're going to wipe off all of the oil so it doesn't seep in underneath the plating, which is a risk. And then we're going to try delicately using autosol to polish it a bit back to its more shiny state. Of course, in doing this, the goal is not to make it look new, or the goal is simply to preserve it and make it clean and storable safely. So without any more talking, let's get into cleaning. So as far as I've heard, and this is what I'll try and do here, it's a test. So yeah, fingers crossed, everything works without irreparable damage. But first wipe with oil is a good idea to get it clean, and then you can proceed with autosol. So we are going to do exactly that. Take our cloth. As usual, I mentioned that in every video, but there's no need to you can go, I don't know, I like to go heavy with the oil. There's no reason not to. So a quick wipe to the sword. We'll try and get the fullers too. We can see there's not a lot of dirt here, luckily. So as you can see, not massive amounts of dirt or anything. As the other sword we saw, or the 1882-45, this one also has residue of paint on the blade, so that's going to be a bit of a pain to remove. And we'll also wipe the hilt down. So I'll get back to you in just one moment when I started applying autosol to this spot specifically, I think, and see if it makes any difference. Okay, a bit of wiping and rubbing with a toothbrush, a soft toothbrush, especially to get in the fuller, with a little bit of autosol, and we are seeing some results. Let me quickly wipe this off so you can see. The paint has persisted, so I'll have to figure out some other way to get that off without nicking the blade. There you go, you can see it there. And you can see it here inside the fuller, I hope. There. But overall, if we look at the blade, I think it's quite an improvement. Let me get it in some light. You can see the oxidized layer of the blade that made it look like very dull and matte has now gone. Even the stains here on the stains on the blade here seem to be much better looking. Now, I'm not sure what this is because I've only wiped in this direction, so these may be some old scratches or something like that that weren't really visible before. I hope I didn't do them, but I can't see how because I didn't work in that direction. So, and now we'll move to the hilt. So here's a before of it. And hopefully, when I see you in a second, it's going to look way better. Okay, at the end of 10 minutes rubbing, you can see my quite dirty hands, but it's better if the dirt is on my hands than on the sword. This is what we have. It's by no means perfect. You'll see the paint, some residue of the paint is still there, which I'll have to figure out how to remove. But my goal here wasn't to make it perfect. It was to see what we could achieve by quickly cleaning this sword. So we'll start from the blade. You can see the dark spots that were here, the damage from rubbing on the scabbard has now gone. You can obviously still see the damage, like the damage in the plating is obviously still there. That's not going to go away. But the blade overall, I think, looks much, much healthier than it did just 15 minutes ago. We have still here, I was mentioning residue of the paint. I'll have to figure out how to remove that without damaging the plating. But overall, it seems very promising. Now moving to the hilt. If you remember, it had all that yellowish residue on it. Now we can see it's back to not perfect. It's still, I don't mind this. Like, I don't feel the need to go into every single crevice and make it shiny. As long as it looks in good condition overall, I think the rest, it just confirms its historicity. Like, there's no need to remove every single stain. And that is kind of more visible, I think, on the underside here, where you can see it's overall, I don't know if I can film it very well here, but yeah, it's overall pretty clean. There are some spots that were harder to reach, and I just figured, well, that's okay. Like, I don't mind that there. Yeah, overall, it looks to me like a decent improvement on the sword. There's obviously more that can be done to clean it a bit better, and I might attempt that when I give a go at removing the paint here. But other than that, I feel like it's day and night compared to what it looked like just a few minutes ago.